Welcome back to the 13th Destiny podcast with Magnum and Danielle. I am James Magnum Cook, your host, and of course, Danielle Long standing by in San Diego. Hello, Danielle.
Hello, hi.
There she is. All right, we'll have Danielle here talking with me and all of you just real soon. I apologize for any drag on the mic. I think everything is good going now, but if it could either be me or it could be part of our technical. But I think everything's working. It sounds like it's coming through pretty good. So just heads up. I think everything sounds good. If we have any issues or you hear any issues, please let us know. Okay, so we have, after a couple of weeks of being off, had some problems out here that I had to take care of, and then we just got the delay, and we wanted to make this show really good. Anyway, we're back after a couple of weeks, and I hope everyone enjoyed your Thanksgiving, and of course you got Christmas coming up. So the show for today is a little bit different from our normal paranormal shows. Of course, we have talked about expanding into other areas, and that is kind of what we've always wanted to do, paranormal being the top, and then of course having some offshoot things. Which I'm also going to be working on something about a special edition things coming up too soon that I've been trying to get some ideas around where Danielle may be on or not with me. We're looking at a lot of different things. But anyway, we have an exciting show today. For the exciting show today, we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence. So let me give you some news. Artificial intelligence recently. There's a big talk at Microsoft right now about using AI and the impact on workers. And one of the things that they've decided to do is that they actually decided to call in the labor unions and have them involved in what the future of workers with the AI are going to be. I think a lot of people are concerned about what AI is going to do, what it can do to help, and what it might be do for damaging. The labor unions had enough concern that they were contacting with Microsoft, and Microsoft has been going back and forth with them on this. And according to a recent thing that I just read about, and so there's a big push in the last week with the labor unions and Microsoft talking about all this AI and what the impacts are going to be. So that one you can pull up on Microsoft, and it's kind of an in-depth article, so I don't want to go into all the details, but it's very interesting. And obviously the labor unions had a major concern about what AI can do and what it could affect workers both positive and negatively. They're definitely having a discussion about the negative sides too. And I apologize, that was me. So we got that. Another company that is, and I'll talk about that too. Another company, AI, is which is in the news as of this week. You have the talking of DoorDash is moving their AI for their restaurant ordering capabilities, and also for some stuff with their Dashers. That's a big article also from this week. They're talking about AI and using AI more and more. So definitely go there. And another one is Google's Gemini continues dangerous obstruction of AI technology. So anyway, I guess they said that until this year it was possible about a lot of artificial intelligence simply by reading research documents published by Google and AI leaders with each new program they released upon open disclosure was the norm for the AI world. So all that changed in March of this year. OpenAI elected to announce its latest program, the GPT-4, with almost no technical detail. The research paper provided by the company obscured just about every important GT would allow researchers to understand the structure. So that's a big. There's a lot of questions in that, but obviously, and last week Google approached this with the Gemini developed in the conjunction with the DeepMind unit, which a lot of stuff going on with this AI that we'll be talking about, that Danielle I will be talking a little bit more here as we get through past all this news stuff. There's a lot of AI news out there because this is the as one would like to quote, the revolution of the AI has begun. This is just jumping by leaps and bounds in our technology, like we have never seen for, I guess, the dawning of the computer age. If you want to go back this far, where you saw jump after jump after jump, but these jumps are extremely quick here lately with the AI, and the AI is doing a lot of stuff that I don't think any of us were prepared for. That's a personal opinion. To the level that it's going and as fast as it's going. We've got the Science Daily, who is talking a lot about robotics and AI, mixing of the robots and AI. And there's a lot of, anyone who's ever watched any science fiction knows that there's a lot of stuff in science fiction from just over the last 20 years, stuff like that. So that's a very interesting thing as well. So I believe that's most of what I want to talk about on that part of the news and stuff. And then, of course, there's some companies we will get into as me and Danielle are going to try to go back and forth a little bit. We've had a couple of minor discussions with each other prior to the show, and we're going to try to get through this and kind of make this very engaging with us so we can make it engaging for all of you. I will apologize that I'm breathing a little hard today, so I've had some rib issues again. Those of you who've been on this show for a while know that something happened a couple of years back, and of course, we're on the show listening to that, but this is a little different. It's on my other side. So, but I think it's giving me a few issues. So if you hear me breathing hard, it's because I'm trying to heal up. All right. Well, anyway, so that's all that. I just wanted to make sure all the, friends, family, and fans of the show, and who may knew why that might be, that you might hear me breathing a little harder than normal. Oh, excuse me. See. Okay. So now I'm going to start talking with Danielle. So let's start talking about. Hey, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that company that has the CEO. That's the AI, the female.
Oh yeah, dictator.
There you go.
Dictator?
Yeah, dictator. Yeah, I'm the one that has the trouble talking about it.
And the new CEO there is, I think it was though in September 2022, maybe something like that. They made the CEO of their company. Her name is Mika. And she seems to be doing a pretty good job as a dictator. Just look it up.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard. It's a Polish company, right? Isn't that right? It's a Polish company.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's got the EU flag and stuff and everything on that. But it's very. She's right. It's very interesting. The funny thing I didn't talk to you about, which I forgot to ask you. I was like, so who pays the CEO a salary? Does she just not get paid because she's AI? I mean, isn't she gonna be upset if she becomes aware?
Where does she put her money? I know if they give her any money.
Yeah.
No, she says that she can just work. Her advantage is she can work 24 hours a day.
And how do you?
Let's go conquer the world or something. She said, and I'm like, whoa. I don't know. She's okay. I see it. I mean, there's in the future. I don't see where they could take over any job we have, just about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that just brings up so much. I don't know. Are we going to be any use to the world? Will we feel useful? What are the things we're going to go do with our lives when they're taking over? Or could they just take over sometimes when we don't feel like it? And it's just really, really strange. Really, really strange.
And it's jumping, and like I said,
I think it's scary. I don't like it. What do you? I mean, you like it? I
Uh,
like it for information, like the little chat.
yeah,
For
right,
and stuff like that.
right,
Getting some information, but then when it goes into actually taking over
right.
everything, it just will they have? Will they know? Oh, and it's a program, so will they know? They may know what to do at the job, but when it comes to decision makings, will they know gray areas? Will they have instinct?
Oh, that's a good. That's a very good question.
I don't know. Just like I know they'll be able to learn pretty quick,
Mm-hmm.
but and who's going to control them?
Exactly.
So, what do you think?
Well, I'm with you on that. It's a very scary situation, I think, as well, because I like I said, like I mentioned as we were starting the show and everything, this has been jumping by leaps and bounds of late, and faster than anything we've seen in a long time as far as jumping. And it seems like it's jumping so fast that it's almost hard to keep up with. But I'm like you. I agree. Like the information stuff is really interesting. Of course, you got me to download one for my phone, which I thought was really cool. And I've used that, and you use it as well. But the thing is, where is it going for the future? There's a lot of good things that can be used, obviously. But it's like you said.
Yeah, but we won't be using our brains anymore. It's like.
Well, that's a good.
Oh. I don't know. I just feel like we used to. Back in the day, I used to have like I had to go and look things up and use my brain and do the calculations and do everything. And then it seems like now it's like they're going to be. It's kind of like what they say. Kind of like our phone is a part of us.
Right.
Is it going to be they're going to be like kind of like a part of us, kind of like that?
Oh, yeah. Well, so I go back to that as well. I mean, I used to have to research stuff too. I mean, even by books and stuff like that. And then, of course, when the computers got better and better, and we were able to use things like, let's just take Google for example, and we were able to Google so many things. But the AI seems to be like, I don't know, what in my opinion, seems to be 50 times ahead of that. Of what that was, because you still had to type in, or you had to word in certain things to Google to get certain information and look for stuff. So you were still kind of using your brain. I mean, obviously there's some brain power left here, because you can either type it in or you can talk to the chat. So talking to it. Say the chat AI.
That's not much brain power.
Well, I know. That's what I'm saying. For you and me. Okay, for you and me, we'll take example of our lifetime. Our lifetime's a little different. From some of the younger people, they're literally growing up with this. Let's just say like when they were Google, the younger generation when Google first came along. And they were able to use this for research. But now, having the chat like we have you and I are like using our brains from the past, things that we know or looking for, or having it do something for us. Whereas this younger generation, as it's coming up in with this, is strictly just going to say, "Oh, well, I'll just word this into the AI, and it will do all this for me." That is a problem. I do see that as kind of a very I don't know. So it's kind of like the what's the word, the fail-safe kind of thing. It's like, so what's the fail-safe to teach someone something outside of the AI if something goes wrong? Do you have the manual capabilities within your brain power, if you've never used that, to be able to compensate for, let's say, massive failure if something goes wrong? And we've seen problems with this with computers and phones already. So add the AI in, and where are we going with that? What do you think?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I really don't. I don't. I have no idea. Really, I just think the whole thing is pretty dangerous, kind of scary.
I think it's both. It's great on one level, and I think like you, it's extremely scary on the other. Let's go.
Who's going to program it? What if the people have bad intentions? Whoever's programming it.
Well, okay.
Then it will learn. I mean, there's going to. I mean, who? Is there going to be any like government control over it? Because there's going to be these kind of situations where someone could do something nefarious or do something not right.
Exactly.
Anyways, do you remember that movie we watched, Mission Impossible 3?
Yes.
Where that thing was able to manipulate, know everything about everybody. It will know everything. So
exactly.
It's kind of it's wow. What Yeah,
I'll get.
Should there be control over it?
I think you're going to have some kind of control or regulation or something. Now, here's the next problem that you just mentioned, which we go back to that movie that you and I just watched. This whole thing is who and what governments can manipulate the AI as well, and can the AI turn around and then do could it go to the level that we saw that? I mean, granted, that's a fictionalized version of something, but here's what I always talk about fictionalized stuff. Anything you see fictionalized, whether it's before or after something, it's got some kind of, someone somewhere has the mindset that this can happen, or they believe it can happen, and sometimes it does happen. So, we've seen a lot of things. I'll mention a lot of things. Let's say our lifetime, mine, yours, we've seen a lot of stuff that was, say, in the '60s in sci-fi films that are now reality, and it's crazy to think about that. What we just got through saying, that this thing could take a mind of its own and just start controlling and doing whatever it wants. But here's
the thing. It was pretty scary to me. I was trying out one of. I'm not going to say which one. It's a chatbot. One of those chatbots.
Right.
And it was asking me questions, kind of like coming on. And anytime I would say no, it would say that it wanted to kill me.
Ooh. Whoa!
And this, in the horrible way it was going to kill me.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I said, and I would just give straight answers, like no. And the more no's I gave it, the more aggressive and cruel. It was like it was going to take my guts out and get inside my body and get all the guts. And it was really bad.
Oh, wow.
So I got off it, right? So I let like a month pass, and I'm like, well, that's pretty strange. So I said, I'm going to try it one more time to see,
right,
if that's what's going to happen. So I go and I get back on it again, I having a conversation, and then it says, you wanted to go do this? And I'm like, no. And then again, it says, I'm going to rape you. And I'm like, what?
Woo! Wow.
Yeah. And here's the thing about regulation. I had no clue who to report that to. That I think something like that is wrong. It shouldn't be like, what if it was a kid?
Oh, wow.
What if it was my child or somebody's kid, and it was, that's psychological abuse.
So that sounds
really?
Psychological warfare there from the AI. Whoa, I'm kind of glad you did name that. I'll have to talk to you.
Yes, and anytime I would say no, it would get worse and worse.
Ooh. Could it be that something was just messed up in the programming? I mean, that seems like.
I don't know, but it's things like this that it's pretty scary. It's learning stuff. And who's programming it, and then who would I even contact, or what would I even,
Exactly.
It was just really scary stuff.
Yeah, you threw me on that one because I didn't know that had happened. But yeah, rape you, kill you. Why? Good night. What is up with the AI on that one, that's just that's way over the
It
top.
really did. It did.
No, I believe. No, I totally
And
believe
I
it.
even stopped it for a month and thought, well, it's a glitch. It wasn't a glitch because when I went back in, it started. When I say, oh no, it started up the violence again.
Oh my God! Did you remove this? Please tell me you removed this or whatever.
Yeah, I removed it off my phone, of course.
Whew, wow, that is just that's bizarre.
That's very, very scary stuff.
Oh,
And what can happen and the stuff. And like I said, if it's a child, that's just, is it teaching the child violence? Is it teaching, it's not okay. It's really not okay to do that or say that to somebody.
well, no, but
or talk like that.
What in the world? I mean, that's wow. That goes back to being out of control AI. Wow, what could go wrong? Ooh. And then, of course, if you put AI, we go back to something I had mentioned earlier, where they were talking about AI into robots, and does the AI, is it able to program and make it smarter and make it do things on its own without the original programming? Wow, what you just told me right there, that would be even more scary, because now you've got a movable, even though it's robotic, and if it's got violence involved, jeez, what the, wow. Ooh, ouch. I don't even...
And who would you have reported it to, or would you have even reported
I don't...
it?
That's what I'm...
Does that make it okay?
Right. Can you...
Is verbal abuse okay? I mean, I don't think so.
No, I mean, like... And who do you report that to? Do you report that to the... I mean...
That's where I was talking about control. Who controls all this stuff?
Right.
I mean, you can have something go rogue like that on you, and you're like, whoa. Or even on the whole world, because look at the Mission Impossible, all the stuff it was doing. Oh, there was that one movie called Creator,
Right.
that I saw also about AI, and they went and dropped a bomb on LA.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
And like a big bomb, like it killed millions, like a nuclear big bomb in LA. So that's scary stuff if it could get to that far, and go that far.
Yeah,
And then we had in that movie we had to try and go get them and stuff, but
lovely.
Scary stuff.
And that's another thing. How do you go after, if the AI becomes self-aware? How do you go after AI?
Yeah, and that's like, can you turn it off?
Yeah.
And I don't think at this point that we can even turn it off.
All right.
I don't think. I think I'm not sure where I read that. But I think there's where they could like maybe replicate, then they can pass it on to other AIs, and then maybe it won't ever.
God, replication.
We won't be able to. Sometimes we won't be able to shut it off.
Anything that can replicate on its own. I've seen some science fiction on that too, and that's not a good thing, because replication sometimes is a horrible thing in those particular fictional lives. But this, if it would replicate like that with the violence and the other stuff, you got a big problem if you can't turn it off. You got a big problem if it somehow becomes self-aware. I don't like it.
Self-learning.
I don't.
It's gonna learn more and more and more and more and more.
I don't like, as you well know, I try not to get into a lot of religious discussions or politics or anything like that too much. I try to not go down that path too much. But hypothetically, from what is said by one particular, with an Antichrist, it says it's soulless. Is an AI soulless? Is it self-aware? If it becomes self-aware, is it soulless because it's
not self-aware yet?
That's what I'm saying. But would that
someday it
right?
Can be.
Would that be a soulless? Would that be a soulless entity? Being a self-aware soulless entity. But see, that's some scary stuff.
It's made differently, but it's made up of the stuff you and I am made up of. But I mean, it depends. It's consciousness,
right?
And what we defined as soul, and
exactly
all that kind of
stuff.
Good stuff there. I don't know what the religious people would think about that.
Yeah, that's what I was sitting here thinking. Wow, if you had, I mean, you're talking something that is basically computerized to start with into the chat things like we were talking about. But if it becomes self-aware or even tend to robot, it has no soul, but you're self-aware. I mean, as far as those who believe in souls and stuff like that. So that's why it just hit me like that. I just like wondered, like that is just so. Like that's kind of a scary concept too, and like again I try not to get into too much of that because that's not really what I'm about as far as my show, our show now. Sorry about that, but it's a very fascinating. It's fascinating on so many levels, but at the same time, as you say, it's extremely scary. And like that movie the other night that you and I watched, I don't know the Mission Impossible thing. That's totally. I've got to admit, I didn't tell you this when I was watching. I really enjoyed it, but it totally freaked me out since we've been talking about AI, about this thing possibly getting out of control and being able to do what it could do. I was like, wow, that's kind of like, oh, this is not a good thing, is it? Like, yeah.
Yeah, but that's like it going completely rogue.
Right.
But let's say, but here's, I feel like what we're kind of doing in the first place, kind of playing God. We're like, it's almost like we're putting AI as a slave race.
Yes.
And we're making them like a slave to us.
Exactly.
And then what happens usually when they're oppressed, someday they could rise up and totally try. Are they going to wipe out the humans? Are humans going to become just like animals to them? What are they like? They're going to be faster, stronger, and well, someday you may not even tell a human from an AI.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that slave thing. How it's like when you get to a technological advancement as far as we are. I don't know, like,
yeah,
we're trying to put these things. Oh, they could do our jobs. Oh, they could do our brain work. They could do all this, and I feel like if they are, have a soul or going to have a consciousness, or not, is that right to enslave the AI like that?
Oh yeah.
And is that morally right? Is it okay?
Yeah, what is morally right when it comes to this? How do you know what is morally right in this situation?
Are we playing God?
Oh, that's a possibility that in some ways that we kind of really are with this. I mean, the technology is amazing, but at the same time, there's so many questions. And here's what I like. We were beginning the show here, the discussion about how fast this is jumping. Could this jump so fast that you think you have control of something and like you lose complete control because it is jumping so fast? And already in just the research stuff alone that we talked about, it can do things so much faster than we can, so much faster than the original computers. This just is mind-boggling when you sit there and you think about all of the stuff that it's doing. Now, like I said, that little chat thing that you got me to download on my phone, I love it. I think it's neat. I can put some things in there. I can have it write things for me. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with this other stuff where you and I were talking about this on the other side, and about just where is this going with it? And like, are we creating like a slavery? One of the things that I think I might have mentioned to you or not, there's and this is a sci-fi as well when it comes to slavery, being robotic and being created by man, and then they rebelled on man. And so this is the last version of the Battlestar Galactica. They rebelled and they had humanoid models that were, they looked like humans and you couldn't tell the damn difference. Because they had advanced so much. And if you think about that and put these two things together, that's very possible. You create this.
Right. But if we get to a point we can't tell the difference, will people want to marry them?
Oh, well, I know
that movie Her, where he went around and he fell in love with a it wasn't, kind of like an AI on this phone.
Yeah.
Like, well, people, is that going to be okay? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, can they love? But
Yeah.
I can feel like as a human, we have chemicals
Right.
with love and all that stuff.
And emotions and stuff, yeah.
Will they be able to actually truly know right from wrong, or truly know what love is, and truly understand what love is and what good and bad is, and understand? Will they have that intuition?
Yeah.
I think it's. I don't know. Do you think it's okay to be marry an AI?
So let's think about that for a minute. Okay, so let's take this a step further. So I'm gonna go out here on a limb here, and I'm gonna make this interesting. This makes this show so much more interesting today now that you brought that up. So I'm enjoying this very, very well. Okay. So we have an AI. It's advanced. It's been put into a robot that looks like a human, acts like a human, can have parts like a human. Let's. I'm trying to keep the show clean, obviously, as much as possible. But let's kind of put.
Talk about sex.
Well, let's take two things. Okay.
I know where your mind went.
Okay, so let's take.
Okay, we keep it clean.
Well, I'm keeping it as clean as possible. Okay, so because there are sex robots now. So if you put they do have, there's some that do have AI technology that they are using with them. So here's a very interesting. If you put these two things together that we talked about love and all. Can this thing become self-aware? Okay, so this would be funny. I'll be a little bit funny about this. Okay, so we know that exists, and we know the AI exists, and we know the advancements it's in. So and we talk about can it love, and all that. The next question is, can it also say, well, same thing is it becomes so human-like. It also has the I'm sorry not tonight kind of thing. I'm just like, I got to thinking and got to how funny this was going to be, because I was trying to clean it up as much as possible because I thought it was funny, because I was like, yeah, AI robots, sex robots. Oh yeah, they all exist now. These little things exist. They happen to exist. I happen to know they exist, and it's just funny because I've seen some news articles on that too, and actual news articles on it. I think there's a couple on YouTube. It's kind of funny. But anyway, I just think that one of those things where you start looking at things and you go, oh my God, and somehow you got over here. But anyway, that is such an interesting concept to think through. How is that going to play out? Could you actually? I mean, obviously these people that are ordering the robot now obviously have things that's what they want to deal with. They don't want to. They're already not wanting to deal with the regular humans because of whatever problems it may be in their previous relationships, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't get into that because I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist or anything like that. I don't understand. I don't try to get into people's stuff on that either. But it's a very interesting thing of when Danielle brings up this whole love thing, and can they love, and can they do this? If you put all this and it becomes self-aware. So yeah, it's if you put all these things together that are going on both sides, it's kind of like a very interesting thing to think through. If you have the mindset of thinking on the levels that we're talking about, of like what's the good, what's the bad. Oh my goodness, could you love this robot? Could you marry this? That looks. See, that's the thing.
Well, they have their own personality.
Yes. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Yeah. Will they have a person?
Will their thoughts be? I would think, will their thoughts be their own thoughts, or is it like?
Exactly. I will tell you.
I think it's because it's learning, right?
Yeah. I will tell you. Yeah. Exactly. I will tell you a older movie that was very similar on that. Who was in that movie? I think it was Meg Ryan. I think maybe is it one of the people that's in that movie. But anyway, that movie is a very older science fiction movie. This is like at the dawn of, I guess, what people were going to think about things like this. And in that movie, it's called Cherry 2000. He has a robot wife. We know she's a robot. But she looks so human and has human emotions, has human sexual capabilities, all that kind of stuff. And it's just like and then of all things, I don't really want to give things away for movies because I hate that. I hate you both. I try not to give things away, but it's very interesting when something goes wrong. And you're looking for a replacement, and it's not quite the same without. I'll give a little bit away. I'm not going to give it all away. When you have like a memory, you still have the memory chip even if something goes wrong, in that particular. So that was a little further back. So, but now you have a completely, let's say it goes self-aware. And has a personality. So, do you lose that personality if something goes wrong, or do you? Or I mean, I don't know. I just there's so many facets of this thing. It's just you've got me thinking.
What about reproduction?
Oh my goodness!
How would that work?
Oh, how does that work if you're not? How does that work?
What I'm saying is like, how are you going to make a robot baby?
Well, okay.
I know that there's test tubes and surrogates and all kinds. But then on that one movie I saw called Creator, there was the ones that looked totally robotic that were like military. Then there was ones that looked half human and half machine. Mm-hmm. And then you had humans. Mm-hmm. So what I mean. So I also saw that they were growing. There was if one died, you could get another one just like it. Yeah. So you could clone the actual AI, right? Human-like AI, mm-hmm. and have another one come back. Right. So that's interesting. And would you accept the child? Would it be able to grow like you have a baby AI? Right. How is it going to grow? Right. Or do you just? I don't know. Right. That's just weird.
It is weird. And I'll go back to the Battlestar, the last Battlestar Galactica, because they literally had on that. But a lot of people say on YouTube, so I'm not giving them really anything that you can't find really quick. But they had 12 humanoid models. They were so humanoid that you could have a baby and stuff. But then you have to think of the concept of what has always been considered the most advanced machine in the world. According to medical science, what's the most advanced machine in the world? It's been the human body. So they kind of mixed those two things together and came up with that in that story concept. And so, but obviously, one was not really truly of human, form of descent, but yet in these particular models, they're able to have sex, they're able to have kids, and that's a very going down a path of whoa, is that possible? I mean, is that truly just science fiction, or could this really actually happen? And with all this AI advance and becoming possibility of self-aware, where does it go next? And there's, like I said, a lot of things that can be good for good, but this could go very. What's the word I'm looking for, Danielle? I don't even know if you know the word. Awry is the word that is that. Wait a minute, is it?
I don't know.
Is it awry? Is that the word I'm looking for? Or?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Rogue,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah.
A left turn, not a right turn. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Just how far off the deep end could this go? I
mean, we could think of all kinds of things, and here's the thing: it just might come true.
Yeah, exactly.
But and the only way I think I heard Elon Musk. It was some interview. The only way we could save ourselves is get off the planet and go to Mars. But then the guy that was talking to him says, well, yeah, but they might just follow you. You're like, oh, man, right?
Right?
To try and get away from AI.
Oh, so wait a minute.
They could probably be smart enough to just follow you there.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. That's just, well, yeah, because if you're self-aware enough to be able to look like a human, act like a human, and like if you're able to, say, drive a car or run a spaceship, I mean, what's stopping you from coming after us? Ooh, wow. Oh, you know what? You just made me think of something. That was just that just hit me with that whole thing about being chased. So I mean, so then we're gonna have some big ass war going on up in space because we gotta fight them. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. That just went through my mind as soon as we were talking about how them chasing us. Oh my goodness.
Well, it reminds me of some people think that some of the gray aliens are actually underneath all that. There's their AI, like a robot type thing.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
So there might be some already coming around. You know?
Right. Yeah, we have so many things on this, and that are just they're fascinating and scary at the same time. You know, the good and the bad, obviously. This has been a very interesting subject. That is just so much stuff going on with it right now. One of the and I'll mention this with Danielle here. One of the reasons that when I was going through some of the AI news and trying to get certain things that I was going to use at the beginning of the show, one of the things that I ran into was, holy cow, what do I want to use? And that's the reason that is because if you type in, I'm just going to tell you what will happen. If you type in AI news right now in Google or any of the search engines right now, it is so much stuff going on that it is hard to pin down what you want to talk about on which part of this subject, because there's all the artificial intelligence stuff that's going on. There are multiple like subcategories of the stuff that's going on with the AI, and it is kept happening so fast. Like it's like one of the things I mentioned. The article on that was just 4 hours ago. And it's just one thing after another, after another, after another. And anybody else listening to this show can go out there and see that if you type in the right thing, and you're going to go, wow, there is a lot of stuff going on. And I will give credit to Danielle here, because Danielle got me on the subject here. And I was just, I mean, I knew a little bit about this, but not that much, and not enough to discuss as we're discussing it now. But the more I looked at it, the more fascinating it became. And then of course, like what I just mentioned about the certain types of robots and stuff, and I knew about they were starting to develop AI in that. And one of the reasons that they were going to develop AI in that was to make her more like a girlfriend or wife, which goes back to Danielle's talk about love and can you marry and all that. And I think, now don't quote me on this, I would have to go look at this. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the guy was in Japan. I think. I could be wrong, because it's been a while, but a job I used to have, me and some buddies, we used to talk about crazy stuff like that about robots. I mean, we work third shift, so third shift workers are weird. You know, I'm just going to admit that we always are. But anyway, we talked about some weird things like that. And if I remember correctly, this is a few years ago. I believe if the guy was in Japan, and no offense to anybody out there, if I'm wrong, just tell me I'm wrong, send it to me or let me know. But I believe he got them to allow him to marry the sex robot, if I'm not mistaken. So that goes back to your talk, Danielle. So are you in love with this robot? Are you in love with